Here we're going to just get a very quick overview of graphing. So in the Cartesian coordinate system, or we call it the rectangular coordinate system, each point is represented by an xy coordinate. X tells us how we move left and right, y tells us how we move up and down, so horizontal versus vertical. We have 4 quadrants. Goes 1 is where everything's positive, x and y are positive. The second quadrant is where x is negative but y is positive. In the third quadrant, we have negative x values and negative y values. And then the fourth quadrant is where we have positive x, negative y. The point 0, 0 is the origin. It's kind of our starting point where x is 0 and y is 0. And then within the xy axes, we can always set a scale. So in this case, this image has a scale of 1 for the x-axis and 1 for the y-axis. They can be different, they can be the same, just have to be consistent within that axis. Okay, so let's say we want to label the order pairs that we're seeing here. So let's start with the origin. So we have that 0, 0 point. Let's see, we also have this point on the x-axis at x equals 9. And then because we don't go up and down at all, that'll be a 0. This point here would be 6, 2, because we go to the right 6 spots and then up 2. This point would be 0, 4, because we just go from x equals 0 and just go up 4. And then we have 1, 9, where we go to the right 1 and up 9 to get to that point. Let's see, we'd have negative 4, positive 8 here. We'd have negative 7, positive 3 here. This would be a negative 5 for x, but then a 0 for y. Here would be at x equals negative 8, y equals negative 2. Right, here we would have negative 5, negative 6. Let's see, along this y-axis here, so I mean x is 0, so y would be negative 7. Let's see, up here we have x equals 2, y equals negative 1, and then our last point way out here, x is 8, y is negative 7. All right, so that's how we could label some coordinates. Let's say if we wanted to plot a graph. So first thing I'm going to do is label x and y axes. So we have x and y. And then looking at these coordinates, I would try to get an idea of how far out do I need to see. Like if I saw an x coordinate of 20 or 50 or something like that, I would have to think about scaling my axes here. It looks like a scale of 1 should be good for x and a scale of 1 for y. So let's see, 4, 5, we will go to x equals positive 4, y equals positive 5. So there's our first point A. Negative 1, positive 3 would be our second point B. Let's see, negative 5, negative 6 out here for point C. Positive 4, negative 7 out here for point D. C 7, 0, so we're going to go to x equals 7. 3, 6, 7, and then we don't go up or down at all, so that would be our point E. 0, negative 2, so we don't go left or right at all, we just go down 2 spots, and that'll be our point F. For G, we're at negative 3 and then 5.5, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just a half. So we can graph fractions, we just want to be as close as we can to the point that we want. Let's see, 8, 8 should be up here in the corner for point H. 3.5, so 3.5, and then down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for point I, and then negative 3, negative 3 for point J. So x coordinate tells us how we move left or right. To the right is positive, to the left is negative. And then the y coordinate tells us how we move up and down. Up is positive, down is negative.